Welcome to a special edition of Health Talk. This show is being seen by our Queens viewers and our Manhattan viewers. My name is Anton Trapman. I'm the host. The reason for this particular show is there's been a very hot topic going on, and I think a lot of it's because there was somebody on the Oprah Winfrey show speaking about a topic that seemed to really get the public's interest. So what did we do? We went to a hypnotist in Queens and Manhattan, Jeffrey Cohn, to discuss the same topic. Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
The topic is regression. And there was a key element in this show on TV, which you're very familiar with, past life regression.
Correct.
Can you please tell our audience that doesn't have that much knowledge on this, what exactly does that mean, past life regression?
Sure. Oprah Winfrey had a Dr. Brian Weiss on recently, and because of his notoriety, because of his popularity, and what he's done for the field of hypnosis and past life regression, I have had a marked increase in the amount of people calling in requesting a past life regression. But there are many different types of regression. There's age regression, there's past life regression, there's regression into the womb, and there's life between life spiritual regression. Now, regression itself, maybe we ought to define what that is exactly.
Yeah, that would help our audience. We have a lot of people that don't really understand this or are unfamiliar with it.
Regression is going back in time and reliving the experience all over again. It's not you trying to remember. It's not memory recall. Regression is actually going back, whether it's age regression or regression into the womb or a past life regression, or even a life between life spiritual regression. Regression is going back and reliving the experience all over again. And people regress in different ways. There are different ways of bringing someone back in time, and when a person regresses, 50 to 60% of the population is visual. That's their dominant sense. That's how they learn. So for them, when they do a regression, the scene might be something that they're seeing. Well, what about the other 40 to 50% of the people that walk this planet?
Right.
Their predominant senses are perhaps auditory or kinesthetic. So for them, when they do a regression, it's not necessarily something that they're seeing. It may be something that they're feeling or intuiting, or it could be an inner knowing. The operative word when you're doing your regression is to have the client trust and allow their experiences to unfold. Trust the process and allow it to unfold in any way that makes sense to the client.
Can I ask you
Sure.
This is a layman's question. You know, we're supposedly living now. Now, in what I've read up on this past life regression, it's from a life prior to the one you're living now. Now, how would anyone know what they did in a prior life? I mean, it's a very unusual situation to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. And it may be out of your belief system. And it's not up for me to try to convince anyone that they've had a past life. Now, when someone is experiencing a past life, and they come in for many different reasons for wanting to do a past life, sometimes there are issues in this life that need to be attended to. And I've had people who call up, and because of unable to deal with, unable to find the solution to the problems in this life, they are hoping that perhaps the answers to their questions of what's blocking them, what's stopping them, what's preventing them from growing, is located in the past life, whether you believe that or not. I had a client who came in, and the objective wasn't to do a past life regression. He was afraid to get on an elevator.
Okay.
That was his presenting issue. And in working with that fear, we regressed back. This is age regression.
Okay.
We regressed back to an earlier time that had everything to do with that fear. And when the scene opened up for him, he was 4 years old, and he was locked in a closet, He was locked in a closet by his 3-year-old sister. They were playing. And you would have thought that that was the initial sensitizing event,
Right.
the actual event that caused the problem. But when he was asked the question, this feeling that you had, the feeling of fear
Right.
in closed spaces, was this feeling new or familiar? And his answer was that it was familiar, meaning that we had to go back even further. Now, I didn't direct the regression back to any specific place. I asked him to follow the feeling back to an earlier time that had everything to do with that feeling. And when the scene opened up, it was in the 1800s. There was a religious war going on. He was captured by the other side. He was placed in a coffin, and he was buried alive.
Wow.
Now, in my chair, you actually saw him going through what we call an abreaction, an emotional release.
Wow.
He had his hands up in this position as if he was pushing against the lid of the coffin,
To get out?
trying to get out.
Right, right.
And at the end of that panic, you all of a sudden had an emotional release. And as his spirit left his body, he started to feel euphoric, almost as if he was going home, almost as if he was safe.
Yeah.
And this was someone whose belief in past life regression was actually outside his frame of reference. It was not something that he was comfortable believing in. But there he was, experiencing it. And at the end of that experience, at the end of that regression, he came out of hypnosis realizing that he was actually safe.
Oh, wonderful.
That nothing could really harm him, his true essence, meaning his soul. Yes, you could hurt his body, harm his body, but not him, not who he was. And he is his soul.
So let me just ask you, let's say one of your clients comes to you or another hypnotist. They go, Mr. Cohn or Jeffrey, I'd like to come in as your client to try to figure out how I can get out of a problem through the regression process.
Mm-hmm.
Do you analyze the person to figure out, are you going to go to a past life regression, a regular regression, or do you just talk to the person and figure it out on the way as you're doing it?
The fortunate thing is I don't have to be that brilliant.
Okay.
Their subconscious will take them to where they need to be to resolve the issue for themselves.
So you're flexible to go wherever the situation is.
The type of hypnosis that we do here at the New York Hypnosis Center is client-centered. It's not directive. It's not me telling the client what to do. It's me helping the client tap into their own inner wisdom. We come to our sessions believing that our clients have the inner wisdom to know where their issues and problems lie. They also have the inner wisdom to know how to resolve those problems if they had an opportunity to get there. Hypnosis is just a vehicle to help the client get to where they need to be so that they can resolve these issues for themselves.
Let me ask you, if people watching the show that are either unfamiliar with hypnosis, unfamiliar with regression, if they had any questions, maybe they're a little bit shy or afraid to make an appointment now, or with you or another hypnotist, is there a way that on your website, do you discuss these issues where they can study it, something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They can go to my website. It's www.nyhypnosis.net, and they can get a full understanding of what hypnosis is, what it's not, what to expect, and in a session, what their role in the process would be.